4,600 years ago, engineers stood in the middle of Gujarat and dug an enormous rectangular hole in the earth. Not for burial, not for defense. They dug it for ships, 214 meters long, 37 meters wide. This is Lothal, the world's first engineered tidal dock, built while most civilizations were still learning how to stack stones. While pyramids rose in Egypt, India was building maritime infrastructure, a working port connected to the sea by a carved channel. Ships sailed from this basin carrying cargo across 2,000 kilometers of open water to cities whose names you already know. And then, one day around 1900 BCE, the water stopped coming, and the reason took archaeologists decades to piece together. But to understand why it died, you first have to understand how it worked, because nothing like it existed anywhere on Earth. The story starts with the tide, a river called the Sabarmati, and a piece of engineering 4,000 years ahead of schedule. Twice a day, the tide pushed up the Sabarmati River and into a carved inlet channel that fed the basin. Water flowed in, filled the dock, and lifted the ships. No oars, no hauling, just the ocean doing the work. When the tide retreated, spillway gates controlled the outflow, holding back enough water to keep every hole comfortably afloat. That is a tidal lock, automated water management for shipping, operating in 2600 BCE. Britain would not build its first comparable tidal dock for roughly another 4,000 years. The basin walls are lined with fired brick, each brick the same size, fired to the same hardness, laid in the same pattern. That sameness matters. Standardization at this scale means planning, not trial and error, an organized workforce following a design. Those bricks have now survived 4,600 years of monsoons, floods, and earthquakes, and the basin is still intact. They did not build fast. They built to last, because this dock was not a monument. It was infrastructure. Which raises the obvious question: why build the world's most advanced port in the middle of Gujarat at all? The answer is what they made here: carnelian, a hard, red-orange, semi-precious stone that takes a brilliant polish. Lothal was a manufacturing center with workshops producing carnelian beads by the thousands, drilled, polished, and standardized. Archaeologists found the drilling tools, half-finished beads, and rejected pieces, the unmistakable footprint of industrial production, not craft. Carnelian is brutally difficult to drill, especially with Bronze Age tools, yet Lothal's beads show uniform holes and consistent sizes. That is quality control, 46 centuries ago, because a bad bead is not worth shipping across an ocean. Trading over distance also demands standards, and Lothal used cubical stone weights in precise ratios: 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. A binary progression, the same system found at Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, and every major Indus Valley site. When your trading partner lives 2,000 kilometers away, you both need to agree on exactly what a weight means. Lothal had that figured out. What it needed next was proof the goods were theirs, and that proof still survives. The proof is seals, small square stamps carved from steatite with animal motifs in a script nobody alive can read. Merchants pressed these seals into clay to mark ownership of goods, a signature, a brand, an identity in stone. And archaeologists have found Indus Valley seals over 2,000 kilometers away in the ruins of Mesopotamia. The route ran from Lothal down the Gujarat coast, across the Arabian Sea, and up the Persian Gulf. From there, goods moved to Ur, to Babylon, to the greatest cities of the ancient world in wooden sailing ships. Mesopotamian clay tablets even named their trading partner, a land across the sea called Meluhha, rich in carnelian and copper. Meluhha was the Indus Valley, and Lothal was one of its ports. Trade went both ways. At Lothal itself, archaeologists uncovered Mesopotamian-style seals in the excavation layers. Foreign merchants were coming here, or Indian ships were returning with foreign goods. Either way, the traffic was mutual. This was not conquest or tribute. It was a network where both sides had something the other wanted. Trade at that scale creates an unglamorous problem. Where do you put everything between the ship and the sail? Near the dock, archaeologists found the answer: warehouse foundations with 72 storage blocks organized in neat rows. Every block sat with drainage channels around it, because in Gujarat, monsoon rain can destroy inventory in hours. Goods came off the ships, moved to the warehouses, stayed dry, and waited for distribution. Supply chain management, 46 centuries early. Moving cargo across an ocean was only half the challenge. Keeping it dry until it sold was the other half. Trade is never just ships. It is warehouses, drainage, weights, and inventory, the boring infrastructure that makes exchange possible. For roughly 700 years, this whole system ran: tides in, ships loaded, beads out, foreign goods home. And then the promise from the beginning of this story came due. The water stopped. Around 1900 BCE, the Sabarmati River shifted course, as rivers on flat alluvial plains eventually do. The inlet channel no longer reached the water. The tides stopped arriving. The basin stopped filling. Without water, the world's most advanced dock became exactly what it looks like today: a hole in the ground. But the river alone did not kill Lothal. Across the entire Indus Valley, cities were declining at the same time. The monsoon was weakening. Agriculture strained. Excavations show construction quality dropping, structures shrinking, organization loosening. Lothal did not collapse in a day. It faded as the river moved, the routes shifted, and the people left. For nearly 4,000 years afterward, farmers plowed fields above it while the basin silently filled with silt. Then, in 1954, archaeologists began digging and found the world's oldest engineered maritime port. Here's what makes Lothal remarkable. They did not build a dock because trade routes already existed. They built the dock to create the trade routes. Most civilizations waited for traders to arrive. Lothal built ships and went looking with standardized bricks, mathematical weights, engineered spillways, and export-grade goods. None of it was accidental. Lothal was designed from the first brick to connect the Indus Valley to the world. Before the Silk Road, before the spice trade, before Rome existed, India built the infrastructure for maritime trade. Lothal was the beginning, but not the end. Other Indian coasts kept building harbors the same way, and the trade never actually stopped.